This is probably the best thing for you guys who don't watch any of these guys, and we've covered Destiny a lot, and you're like, oh, he's the blue-haired lefty. Da, da, da. This is going to change your perspective.
I wish I brought a notebook with me because I think I disagree with almost every single thing that was just said.
This is why we like Destiny. This is why we like him. Disagreeing with all of them. Shout out to Per Usual. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the party, brother.
I think that infighting happens on the left and the right. I think it's silly to say that infighting is something that only happens on the left or is exclusive to the left. I mean, just a while ago, we saw a huge split with Stephen Crowder fighting with the Daily Wire, for instance. We see huge schisms in the Republican Party with them being unsure of how they're going to proceed when 70 to 80% of the party is like ride or die for Donald Trump, who stands in
I don't know if it's 70, 80, but a big chunk of the Republican Party is for Donald Trump. But these schisms that he is talking about, it's not about the politics. The whole Daily Wire Stephen Crowder thing was not about a difference in what they think should happen in the country. It was a personal thing. Now, it's not that they don't have disagreements, but it's not about power. It's about working together and moving things forward. And so even when we do have disagreements, our desire is to get it figured out, or at least find a common ground instead of just saying, no, I'm right, I'm going to bash you into into submission. Camcast said Destiny being a contrarian against Emma, this Emma person isn't surprising. Yeah, I mean, he is effectively the conservative on this panel. If this is the entire spectrum, if this is the entire spectrum up here, if this is the entire spectrum of the political spectrum, then Destiny's over here. He's on the right. I'd say that Emma's in the middle, and that Vaush would be the farthest left because he's just out there. He is just out there.
Stark contrast to the actual Republican establishment. The idea that, I mean, we see even Donald Trump, the guy who, is the leader of the Republican Party, literally fights with every single other person in the Republican Party and his own cabinet and his own attorney generals and every other part of his thing. So I don't think infighting is unique to any side.
True.
I agree that fighting and debate is good and having conversations is good. But I find that on the left, that's not what happens. And these fights don't originate out of principle, and they don't conduct themselves in a way that is productive. Instead, what they end up being is like an endless place to serve your own ego and to straw man, attack, cancel, destroy people that you end up disagreeing with. So while it would be really great if it did exist on the left where we could have conversations and disagreements, what actually happens is there is a party line that you kind of have to toe right now on the left if you're a progressive. And if you
this is a great timing with this. So as I understand, I think the biggest disagreements with the conservatives is how people feel about Trump, and the actual issues. We're more or less aligned. Because it's very basic. It's very basic. We just want the ability to be happy and safe and make money to support us being safe and happy. This sounds like a debate. Yeah, man. I told you this is probably the best thing for you guys who don't watch any of these guys, and we've covered Destiny a lot, and you're like, oh, he's the blue-haired lefty. Da, da, da. This is going to change your perspective for sure. But as he's talking about right now, that you have to toe the party line. That's much more of a top-down thing from the left, where it's like, this is the right thing to say, and so everybody else falls in line. Whereas on the right, it's the fact that everything is what it is, and then we come together because we agree on those things. Yeah, it sounds like a debate. Constitutional, exactly. That's all we want. That's all. Like, once we get that, we're good.
You deviate in any way, size, shape, or form, you're essentially Hitler 2.0. And I don't think there's anything productive there. I don't think anything good happens there. And then on the end, the last point that Emma brought up, as much as I like to say, like 10 years ago, Twitter is not real life, I just sat across from Ro Khanna, who said that he didn't even have AOC's number, and they were conducting official business on Twitter DMs.
Official congressional business for the U.S. government being handled in Twitter DMs. What was it? There was a panel at VidCon yesterday, which was about the future, like the future of content creation, the future. For some reason, they had 3 or 4 TikTok kids. I cannot imagine that any of them was over 23 years old. And they're talking about like, oh, well, Twitter's definitely going by the way. The question was, what by 2027, the year 2027, which platform do you think is going to be gone the way of MySpace and Vine? And all four of them, actually, no, three said, one said Snapchat, but all the rest of the three of them said Twitter. Like the Twitter, Twitter is and has been for a long time that that public square. And yep, don't forget about that. And they're only growing. I mean, look at Tucker. How could you think that Tucker would have any reason to not create a YouTube channel and just go on Twitter if it was going by the wayside? So, I mean, yeah, well, Threads didn't. Yeah, I mean, technically, I think Threads are still a thing, no? I don't know. I never even looked into it. But that was really frustrating. That was, and we'll talk more about my personal experience at the convention after the video, but definitely not. Twitter is here to stay. I wanted to post what level of federal security clearance or protection do Twitter servers have to allow congressional information like that? Good question. I mean, I'm guessing that it wasn't anything, crazy confidential or anything. I'm sure that, it was just an easy thing to do. But the fact is, they were on Twitter. That's where they were doing it.
So it seems like every day Twitter is becoming more and more like real life, where a lot of the policy, Donald Trump was literally announcing policy, making decisions from Twitter. We've got politicians like Bernie Sanders having...
Shout out to Justin with the God comment. Shout out to whatever you believe. Unfortunately, I still do not, but I am always open to hear what you got to say. He's got to go. Thank you so much for stopping by. See you around, brother.
To disavow his fan base because of their behavior on Twitter. And we've got a lot of interactions online.
Wait, I missed that. What about what?
Bernie Sanders, Donald Trump was literally announcing policy, making decisions from Twitter. We've got politicians like Bernie Sanders having to disavow his fan base because of their behavior on Twitter. And we've got a lot of interactions online that are merging more with real life than they ever had before. I don't think it's enough for influencers or entertainers to just throw their hands up and say, well, I just do entertainment. The work on the street is for the people on the street. I think that it is becoming increasingly more likely that people online are having a major influence on stuff that happens on the street or in academia or in other places. And I think we need to be aware of that responsibility and we need to play into it accordingly.
Well said, because that's again, putting yourself in the mind of a progressive, like, oh, well, you're just on Twitter, as opposed to, the mountains of papers and textbooks that were given to me at college. They're worried about the fact that Twitter is in fact a place to conduct congressional business and everything else. And it's just it's funny. It's funny to watch them squirm and try to be like, well, I mean, we're educated, but I went to college, but shout out to Doodad Attack. Welcome to the party. Xander said, Elon is awesome, and I get the love he gets, but people seem to forget what he's working on or towards, and it's pretty intense security and control. I don't disagree with you, but the thing is that he understands business and consumerism well enough that it's not going to be. Obviously I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't think he is going to do anything that is going to make people distrust him, because it just doesn't make business sense. He wants to make money, and so that's you got to give the people what they want. So I'm not too worried about that. I know. I mean, he can be a little bit eccentric and maybe try some things. I remember he was talking about wanting to get rid of the block button. But people said they didn't want it, and so he didn't do it. Producer said, "I know I'm not here much anymore. Got a lot of other stuff. Oh, that is not a problem at all. It is always a pleasure to see you, brother. Always, always, always."
I think I actually agree strongly with that last bit. There's a TikTok I saw from a creator called Chris Raygun. It was funny, but the gist of it was essentially he was calling out a number of other YouTubers who he strongly believed had received an email, like him, from a conservative organization offering them money in exchange for them being willing to push certain talking points. He didn't accept it. He feels that a bunch of other folks did. There is a really strong synchronicity there. It feels in a lot of right-leaning spaces where there is this underlying cohesion, and you spoke to it being like the bridge of capital, and I think that capital, if nothing, binds people. If you can pay people
Okay, I agree with that. I did not. That's not where I saw this going. Interesting. So I thought he was going to talk about how it's a cult and whatever Donald Trump says and going down that road. But now he's talking about it's based on capital. Nothing binds people like capitalism. Interesting. Okay. Maybe another one for Vaush.
It being like the bridge of capital, and I think that capital, if nothing, binds people. If you can pay people,
money binds those right-wing influencers.
For sure. Really obvious.
What money do all the left-leaning influencers make? I mean, like, it's not. None of us up here are poor, right? We all make a lot of money up here, right? I think some of the largest podcasts. I know the Majority Report does really good on Patreon, and a Watch Your Channel does good. Like, it's not like we're sitting up here broke, like we're on the street in rags, like listen to a fellow leftist. Like, we make a lot of money.
No. But that's the difference, right? We make money, but the circuits through which we make money incentivize, in many cases, drama and infighting. One of the best ways to get a lot of money or prestige or clout as an influencer is to manufacture drama.
I disagree with him. I disagree with him. That's a good way to make money once you've already made it. Once you already have a following. Once you already have at least something. Like, if I tried to start drama with somebody, nobody would give a shit.
Nobody cares.
Like, that's just not something that people would tune in. Now, once I have an established platform, then that goes in. And then, that may be true. But that also then, if I'm just, beefing with this person and then that person and that person and that person, and I become a drama channel, then the people who want to come and talk about politics and talk about what's going on and what conversation, all of these kinds of things, you won't come back. So what I think is more accurate is to say that there is an avenue that is, lucrative. But I don't think it's that proper to say that, just by being online, or I mean, maybe for the lefties it is, but just by being online and you're incentivized to manufacture drama, it's not that simple. That's an oversimplification from somebody who doesn't seem to understand the inner workings, or has forgotten. Obviously, he was a small creator at one time, but he's now Vaush. So that's just no. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed that clip, check out the full live stream link in the bio and catch me live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. See you there.